Hello, my name is Zachary with Old Man Gaming, and usually I stream this day, but I wanted to get a video up, and this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a little while since I got Skull and Bones. So here is 5 things I want to see in Skull and Bones. Why I? Because I don't think anybody else in my community is playing it right now. I think I'm the only one playing it, other than the other people playing it that aren't in my community, which seems to be okay. And they have a huge, very ambitious roadmap coming. And I like to. It's been a while since I've done a 5 things video, so I'm just going to go through 5 things, not in any particular order. This isn't a countdown, just 5 things I want to see in this game. I do want to add a little disclaimer to Skull and Bones to this specific video. I know a lot of you want swashbuckling in this game. They want a third-person swashbuckling in this game. And I get that. I totally understand. If that's a reason that keeps you from playing this game, more power to you. That being said, that's just not what this game is. I don't think it's ever going to be that. I don't think that is something that they could feasibly, technically add to this game. So that is not going to be on this list. If you're watching this video to look for that to be on this list, it's not on this list. Again, I don't have anything against you wanting that in the game. I don't even have anything against you not playing it because it's not there. I'm just saying that everybody knows, everybody who wants swashbuckling, and I get that, but I'm going to focus on other things that I specifically want in the game that hasn't already been addressed. So, Skull and Bones, as we all know, is Ubisoft's open world pirate kind of MMO sort of live service naval arcade action game, so to speak. And I am very much in love with this game. Since its release, I'm already over 50 hours, and that is a lot of time for me to put into a game. So I'm very, I do enjoy it. I am excited about it. But there are some things that I'd like to see in this game. Now, some of these are going to be definitely never happens, but this is kind of like a wish list of just things that I think they could add to really make this game interesting and more exciting. So I'm going to start right off the bat with something there, which is probably a fantasy, probably never going to happen, but something that I'd really like to see. So in the game, as you go through it, and that is fleet management. In the game, as you progress, you buy a lot of ships. You buy and build a lot of ships. Like you'll get blueprints for ships. Then you have to go to a shipwright with the right materials, and then they craft the ships for you. You craft a lot of lower level ships that lead up to your high level ships, and then usually you settle on one ship that's your baby, and that's what you end up putting your build into. This being said, you end up with this kind of like 4 or 5 ships that just kind of sit in the yard doing nothing. I understand one of them is the hunting ship, the Dow. You can only use that ship to hunt. That ship is specifically there for hunting, and you can't use any other ship for hunting. So that kind of has a purpose whenever you want to get those hunting contracts nailed, or when you want to go get some materials from hunting. However, you still have all these other ships just sitting there, maybe with good builds that just aren't your baby, aren't endgame worthy. So what I would like to see, since they already have MPC ships sailing around the thing, this is PvPvE, why not let you give your ships orders? Let them then go out as MPC ships. Maybe opponents sink them, maybe they get the job done and come back. I would love that if you could supply them with a crew, spend a little money. One of the things that's really cool that we're going to talk about later in this list is when you do the end game, you have to run around collecting pieces of 8 every so often, which is a little bit tedious and time consuming. It'd be great to just send out an NPC ship to do that for you. Maybe you lose a little pieces of 8 along the way because it gets nailed by a rogue or something, but overall it would still be kind of worth it for the tedium of it. And it'd be really cool to just kind of see your NPC ships out there sailing around. To further add on this one, and this is really talking fantasy now, I would love it if you could have them sailing and group up with them. One of the things that I don't love about Skull and Bones is there's a few things in this game, not overwhelming amount, but a few things that you just cannot do alone. You have to do co-op, and I would rather be able to like outfit a couple of secondary ships and do those co-op missions with my own ship AIs And myself, I think that would be really cool. Obviously, you couldn't take them into PvP. The balancing would get too whacked out and crazy there. But this would be a nice way. Like right now in the season 1, there's a big bad guy called Philip Lepeste. He has a 13th level ship. There's just no way to touch him unless you have a max level ship and some buddies. And sometimes I have some buddies, sometimes I don't, because I don't know anybody who plays this game. So it's whether or not I kind of get there at the right time when there's other people fighting him. I would love it if I could go up there with a fleet and then see how it works out. Same with the legendary heists or whatever. It would be really nice to just have some AI backup every now and then, especially since your ships are just sitting there. And it wouldn't really throw the balancing off because you would have to buy literally extra parts to outfit these ships to make them worth it to kind of go sail out and take people on. So I think fleet management would be huge for this game. This isn't something that's going to come anytime soon or potentially ever, but I'm just putting it out there in the world. The next thing is basically a definite. The developers already said it's coming, and you can already kind of see the hints, and that is more ships. Number 2 is more ships. We've got a good number here. I think it's like 8 or 9, something like that, potential ships in this. Unfortunately, there's only about 5 of them that are actually like end game qualifiable. That being said, all those ships are classified as either small or medium. So that means to say that there would be a large at some point. The devs have already talked about it on a recent stream, basically saying they're trying to figure out the logistics of making large ships because there's a lot of like rivers and streams that are very hard to sail down if your ship's any bigger than they already get. But they're trying to make that, and they've already said that there's going to be more equipment and stuff coming, that ships are the next logical step. So we're probably definitely going to get more ships, but I definitely want more. I want to have more reasons to play with builds and have more reasons to get new ships and just see if they work better than my beautiful snow that I have right now. My number 3 is a tough one. They have been asked about this, and they kind of dodged the question, so I'm not as hopeful that we'll get this in the game. But I want end game possible for all the ships except maybe the Dow. Right off the bat, you get a better, which is a rammer. It's a level 1 to start. Same with the cutter is, I think, 2. The firebrand is 2. Then you got a couple level 3s. And these ships are really cool. They have some cool abilities. They have some cool speed and whatnot. But because they start so low, there's no way to ever make them end-game qualifiable. Like, they get to this point where it just makes more sense to get one of the ships that starts at level 5. You just can't get them any higher. I would really like to see some way to make it possible that I can make my cutter endgame or make my firebrand endgame. I had a barge that was a firebrand that I had a really cool fire build on it. It was my favorite ship for a really long time and would still be my favorite ship if I could make it a high enough level to actually take on the big end game level stuff. I couldn't, so I switched to the snow, which is now my baby. But I would love to see these lower level ships kind of get their due. And again, give us more reason to go back to these ships that we've already paid for instead of them just sitting in our inventory. Number 4. This is helm management. Okay. The end game of this game, in my personal opinion, is real robust and interesting. It gives me a reason to go back. I like it. It is more than just doing the same raid or mission over and over and over again for loot that gives you slightly better. With the way the helm works, you kind of you do these missions, either PvP or co-op, that you then get a port, and that port will then provide for you, kind of, as long as you fund them, illegal substances to give you basically more of the end game currency. The more ports you have, the more end game currency you get each time you kind of go in and collect from them. There's also a bunch of like ways to upgrade how you do this. Plus, there's a whole nother secondary level about it where you could do direct deliveries to get that endgame currency. I think it's a very robust endgame, personally. I may be wrong. Feel free to call me an idiot in the comments below. But I feel like of the end games I've played, it definitely has not gotten boring to me. That being said, there is some issues I have with it. One of the things is the more malfactories you have, which are the places that just provide pieces of 8, you have to go collect physically from them and bring them back to a pirate den. That gets so tedious. I have like 6 right now, which isn't even close to the most. Sorry about that notification, everybody. Which isn't even like a third of the amount of Malfactories I could have. And it takes me like 20 minutes to just go to each one, especially since they're not synced up on their funding. So I'll get 3 pop, and then I'll have to do them, and then I'll get 2 more pop, and I'll have to do them, and it is super frustrating. Another part of that I don't like is the upgrade screen doesn't it does, but it also doesn't clearly tell you that there's more upgrades behind other things if you spend stuff on them, which was a little frustrating. There's just some refinement to this end game that I'd really like to see. Like I said, I want to see a way that I can click a button and have those pieces of 8 collected for me, so that I don't have to spend all my time at the Malfactories. Maybe I get a less percentage of it, and so there's more of a reason for me to go get it, but I get to make that choice. Something along those lines. There is a tedium to that part of it that I found a little frustrating. There's also some menus that I just think could be better put together, especially the upgrade screen. I think would benefit from being a web or a tree than just like what it is it'll have the 5 categories and it'll say the first thing. And if you buy the first thing, then it says the next thing you can get there. I would much rather see a tree and see where I'm going and what I'm getting next, something along those lines. So yeah. That's I really want to see a little bit more refinement in the helm. Overall, I think the end game's great, but I just want to see that for my sake. And then finally, number 5. Number 5 is a little bit more on the fantasy side, and personally, I think this is what Jason would want to see, and that is port management. He has said that this is the only reason he would play, and I think this would be really cool. It would be a nice secondary endgame system. The way it works right now is there's 2 pirate dens in the game, and those pirate dens supply whatever. I think it would be really cool if the game allowed you to, if it maybe had some preset places and allowed you to, at some point in the end game, become a kingpin of one of a new den, and then maybe you could funnel in money, maybe pieces of 8, something like that, to get amenities there, like the blacksmith, like the carpenter, like all the other things that the other pirate dens have, maybe take in a fee from it. I think that would be really cool. That would also kind of fix one of the issues I have with the game, which is there's kind of 3 major sections to the map, which is the Red Isle, the East Indies, and then the coast of Africa. There is no pirate den in the coast of Africa, so it would be really cool if they added something to where you become the leader of the pirate den in the coast of Africa. It doesn't have to be super involved to get me going, but it would be a nice addition, another secondary endgame to just the smuggling. Especially since you kind of like, by the end of both of the pirate den missions, you kind of have outgrown the people who run those dens anyway. I think that would be a great thing. Instead of just being underground with the smuggling ring the whole time, I think it would be really cool to have like a pirate kingdom to yourself. And I think that would be really awesome. I would love to see that added. And that's it. Those are the 5 things I want to see in Skull and Bones. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? You let me know below. What do you want to see in Skull and Bones other than swashbuckling? Let's just avoid swashbuckling. If you wanted it, it's a fail. It's never going to be there. If you didn't want it, then it's not there and you don't care. So it's kind of like whatever. But anything else that you'd like to see in the game that I may have missed, I'd love to hear from you. As usual, you guys can contact us on Facebook at OmanGamingDH, on Twitter at OmanGaming9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. Influence this and all of our shows from there. So as you guys keep watching and listen, we'll keep making them. We'll see you guys next time.